See who's got the street.
Yeah.
Just waiting on it all to come up now. Sometimes I wonder if that thing's recording us. So I go back and watch it and I see this part.
It may be.
That's up.
That's the youngest, right? The skinny one? That's the real pretty one.
Yeah. And the other one is
Amy, and then the oldest is Leslie. Yeah. Andrea's in the middle. Right.
It's all up and running.
Andrea's the real pretty.
Whatever you say, everybody in the world can hear you, right?
Will be held against you
Will be held against
in the Third Testament court of law.
everything you say is against you.
Turn that down.
I will give everyone a few minutes to come on, and so this is discussion night, and Brother Allen has gotten to where, let's see, I don't think I need anything else. I might give you some more water, but
You want some water?
maybe just a little bit.
You need a bucket.
I got it, Dan. I got it. Anybody else want anything?
Just the Rural King water,
Rookie.
that green.
Okay.
So it's good to be here this evening, and we will kind of, as you know, discussion nights, it's ran in a little different way. It's not so much me ministering on something or bringing something out for you, but it's all of us kind of discussing it. So last weekend we were talking on the land of fulfillment, and that we're not in an age of prophecy. The prophecies have all come forward, and William Branham and many other people all have said the prophecies have been fulfilled. The visions have been fulfilled. We moved into a whole new age called the Abrahamic age, which if you study Abraham at all, it is an age where that we've moved out of sonship and we moved into the father. Abraham, the father of many nations. I'll make you a father of many nations. And Jesus making the statement that the son can do nothing unless the father shows him. So we moved out of that sonship age where we can do nothing, and we've moved into the understanding and the fulfillment of what the Father is showing us and what we are doing. So with that in mind, I just jotted down a little title for discussion here tonight called Walking in the Land of Fulfillment. So we've left Egypt. Everything that you read about Egypt, it was a nice little pattern, but that's not this age. And everything that you read about the wilderness, there were some great things happened in there, but they walked around 7 mountains. They moved around for 40 years. 7 times 7 is 49. So they lived out a type and a shadow of the 7 church ages. And so then they moved into a brand new day, and that was into, they called it in the scripture, Paul and different ones called it the land of promise, the promised land. And we came through the same thing and we come down to the end of the Testaments, and everything was revealed. The apocalypse took place. We're in the time of complete revealing now, and we're over into the land of promise. We've come through the transition, we've come through everything, and we're over into the land of promise. Someone said, well, if everybody's in Christ and if everybody's in the body, how come you got to move into a land of promise? I thought everybody was already in the land of promise.
This is the land of promise.
That's right. Everybody is in the land of promise. The issue is, are you aware of it?
Yeah.
That's the issue. We are aware of it. We've been made aware of it. We understand the land we're in. We understand the land we left. And now we're in this land of promise. Now, what we've done was, the scripture talks about those 7 seals and how they were a mystery. And then the Lord, the Spirit spoke to John and told him, seal those things up and don't say anything about what they are. And everybody still tries to do that. They try to say, well, the seals aren't open, or the 7 seals not open, or the seals are partially open, but nobody wants to say the seals are open, finished, done, and they're laid on a shelf, except us. We understand that and we see it. The seals are finished. And so we come into an age to where it's just like Revelations 21, 19, 20, 21, and 22, that last bit of the book of Revelations, the Lord told him not to seal up the prophecies anymore. He told Daniel, keep it sealed until that day, and he said, when this people of wisdom and understanding come, and he said it'll be open then. So there's a time for the seals to finish up, and there'll be an unveiling rather than a veiling. This is why I put walking in the land of fulfillment. We're not trying to veil mysteries. We're not trying to hide things. We're not doing any of those things. This is a land of discovery. And you unveil and bring to known what you didn't know, what you didn't understand. You open it up and you begin to walk in it and understand it. So we're not seeking to veil anything. If you're seeking anything at all in this land that we've entered into, if you're seeking something, you are seeking to be veiled. That's not what this is about. We don't want to veil ourselves. You say, give me an example, Brother Parnell. If I seek doctrine, I'm going to veil myself with that. And everybody's going to say, he's a doctrine preacher. He believes in doctrine. He believes you don't know his doctrine. If you don't believe his doctrine, you're this and this and this. If I seek anything that I seek, I'm trying to veil myself with it. I'm trying to put it on, veil myself. And in so doing, you get pegged. You get pegged as a two-soul minister. You get pegged as a twinity. You get pegged as a Trinitarian. You get pegged as a love divine. You get pegged as a Third Testament man or woman. You get pegged when you're trying to seek to veil yourself. Oh, we believe the millennium's here. We believe the new heaven and new earth is here. We believe, and you bring all this in, and then you begin to say, somebody that don't believe the new heaven and new earth is here, they ain't like us. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, you're veiling yourself to where people begin to avoid you. They begin to turn away from you. They begin to say, just like one guy on Facebook, every time I read something about his, he'll talk about those bunch of universalists in the message. Well, they're talking about us. because universalism, the doctrine of universalism, it believes the devil and everything, sin and everything else is going to be, quote, saved. All you got to do is go read it. Well, I don't believe the devil's going to be saved. I've never taught the devil's going to be saved. I taught you the devil is a process and it's going to end. That's just the devil. It's a process. And your man of sin and iniquity on the inside of you tries to veil himself with that process so that he can look good, act good, walk good, be this, be that, control everything. Tries to veil himself. So we stepped into a new land. Don't veil yourself. Don't veil yourself with things that people say, yeah, that's that Love Divine bunch. That's that Universalist group. That Universalists have no idea what we're teaching. They haven't got. They're not even an inkling of close to us. The oneness, everything that we're teaching, the devil and what he is, the illusion of sin that there is none. They have no idea. But don't veil yourself up until they look at you and say, that's that Universalist bunch in the message. That's that doctrine bunch in the message. That's the ones that believe that everybody's going to be saved. I guess the best way to put it is people, they go to seed on something. And when they go to seed on something, they can't seem to ever teach or talk or fellowship or enjoy anything without bringing out everything leads to that one road, that one seed. So I wrote this down about it. You guys tell me what you think. When you come into this land, everything is new, and it started as no, we use the word nothing. It started as nothing. We had nothing in this land. But I put down, I said, when you come into this land, everything is new, and it starts as no thing. You don't have no thing in this land. The more you seek, the more you'll veil yourself with things. And things are not you. The more you seek, the more you will veil yourself with things. It is not about seeking now. We're not seeking something to be mysterious and a mystery and hiding this and hiding that. We're not seeking anything. We stepped into the land as a brand new land, and we're actually just living. And if I come up on something that's kind of neat in the land, I may woo over it for a couple of days. Ooh, look at this. Wow, this is great. But I'm not going to go to seed on that thing and say, everybody that comes into this land has got to see this. Well, they might not live in the same area. Yeah. You might not live in the same area. Right. They might not ever walk across that little piece of neat something that you found. They might not ever walk across it. Doesn't mean they're not in the land. So, it's not about seeking. It's just about living. Every place you set your foot was no place. You didn't know the land. When you entered the land, now you're discovering you entered into no place. It's no place. This is not a place. This is not a geographical land. This is not a place you enter into and you start saying, I'm from here. No, you don't do it. There's no place. You set your foot in the land, you set your foot into no place. Do you understand what I'm saying? When you step into it, you step into no place. There's no place you can peg Don Parnell as saying, yep, he's in the land and there's he's home and you're gonna have to do this and this and this in order to live in his home. There's no place here. We just walk. Every place you set your foot is no place. You're not settling down there. You're in the land. And you just walk, you live life, you enjoy, and you grow in the presence of nothing. Nothing. You grow in the presence of no place. It's different. It's totally different. You could anchor down and pull up absolutes in the Third Testament. You got to believe this and this and this and this. And of course, in the Piscean age, in the church ages, oh wow, they anchored that down pretty good. They figured out exactly the place they were in that land. But in this land, there's no place and there's no thing. You enjoy something for the moment. You enjoy it for the moment. And what you see me enjoying today, it's not that I don't enjoy it. I may come back to it 100 times and enjoy it, but I don't live there. I live in the moment. I move on forward, and I live in the next moment, and I live in the next presence, and I live among the next atmosphere, and I just keep moving that way.
So you could say the now is no place. To live in the now is no place.
That's right.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not living in tomorrow. I'm not dwelling on yesterday. I'm living in the moment right now.
That's it.
And this now has no geographical place.
That's right. And this gem that you found, you'll move on to something else. You'll move on to something else because that's what life is about. What do you think about it?
You know, when I think about the land of promise, we come here to get into the land of promise. And that promise is that we will eternally grow. We'll eternally prosper. We'll eternally evolve ourselves. So we come here into this land, this fleshly land, born into this fleshly land, come through the womb, a promise. The promise is wide awake, wide in front of you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that you do through your lifetime, that your choices, things that veils that are put on you that you believe, and then you have to shake them off. Your whole process through life is fulfilling your promise in this land.
Yes.
Everywhere you step, you are fulfilling your promise in your land.
That's it. Mm-hmm. So what are we looking for? What are we seeking? Is there anything?
Yeah, one sage says the whole purpose is to be happy. It's happiness. Okay, I can see that.
You don't seek it, you create it.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, I mean, you can go back biblically where it says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. I don't think that's a geographical place.
No.
That kingdom of heaven is this right here. And the
And-
righteousness is your awareness of
Yes.
who you are in the moment.
Yeah.
And that's what you do when you're outside the land.
Yeah.
You seek the kingdom of God.
Yeah.
But I'm not seeking the kingdom of God now.
No.
I'm in it.
The way he worded it is the happiness is always there. You veil it with different things to cover it up. And then once you break down those veils, you realize that all that's left is love. All that's left is happiness.
Seek ye first. What do you do after that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we're in the land, or we're in this no place. We're in this nothing and this no thing. We're moving about in it. What are we looking for in it? I wrote down a little something. I said, we're looking for presence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We're looking for presence. What is present, and what is the presence among me? I'm looking for presence, or I'm looking to be present. When I step into this, I'm not looking for a doctrine. I'm not looking for a Bible scripture. I'm not looking for a person. I'm not seeking after gathering people. I'm only seeking the present. And as I am looking for the present, that makes you satisfied with whatever moment you're in.
So you're in constant fellowship with life itself.
Yes.
Your
If-
very essence is fellowship with life.
If my presence and what is present is a storm, I should be fellowshipping in that storm with all of the things that are happening, the lightning and the thunder and the rain and the wind and I should be in that present moment and not be sitting there thinking, oh, this is terrible, I'm seeking something else, I want the sunshine, I want this happiness. Just move in the presence of it. And if you're in the presence of someone and they are this or this, if they think they're in a place and they think they are something and not no thing, then you have to deal with that. And how do you deal with that? And you find and you discover and you learn how to deal with all those people who think that places and things are what they are. It's hard to do. Hard to deal with people that are like that think that places are who they are. America is who I am. Well, it's true to an extent, but it's not true. I'm not America. I am Don Parnell. I am a Tory. I am in the atmosphere and I am present in the kingdom in the moment. And now, because in my present moment, America's all around me, then I deal with all those that think they are in this place and they are something in this place they're at. You deal with it.
The influences of that atmosphere.
Yeah.
America has an atmosphere,
Yeah.
and you have to deal with all the parts to that atmosphere. The influence of it every day.
Exactly.
That doesn't mean you are that. It means you're surrounded by that, and that's what you deal with daily.
Yes. And if there's a storm in it, then you enjoy the storm. Just be yourself. And so we're not seeking anything, except we're not seeking to veil ourselves. We're seeking to unveil every place and everything that we thought we were, unveil it and realize that who we really are. That we are a being, we are a living being who came here, got into a body, and that body formed a character of a living soul.
Right.
And you're living out that person. And to try and do anything other than just to try to take a form, to make yourself this or make yourself that, or veil yourself with education or degrees or careers and everything else, to try to veil yourself with those things, you get pegged with that. You go to seed with that.
Mm-hmm.
Where we entered a brand new day and we don't want to go to seed. We want to, yes, we have oneness. We understand oneness, but don't go to seed on that and say, there ain't nobody awake but us. Only the people who believe in oneness. Just don't go there. Don't go there and veil yourself with something that's going to keep people away from the real you.
Right.
The only thing I seek nowadays is to be totally aware of who I am in the moment. That's really the only thing I seek.
You're looking for that
I'm just
presence.
it puts me right in the moment when it's like, you know what? I don't care about an hour from now, a night from now, a day from now. Right now. Now, who am I in this moment?
Yes.
What am I doing? That's really what I try to see more than anything.
Yeah.
Just that. And that's enough, believe me.
Any words or description of some form. When you step into this land and you begin to try to describe it, you begin to put a description on the land, we know we're in a new land because here's the description. It is Isaiah 61:2. It's Jeremiah 41:8. It's Malachi 4, 5, and 6. You are veiling yourself,
Yeah.
Building fences.
building fences, putting on things and places and prophecies and all those kinds of things, instead of just being yourself and saying, "Wow, yeah, ain't that something? That little rock was in here. Wow, that makes my presence feel better to know that this is here and this is here and this is here." But it doesn't make me say what I have is the only thing people can have. So any words of description or form that we seek automatically becomes our container. You know what a container is? It's what holds things. And if you start forming and describing and talking about descriptions of what you want to be, what you're seeking, where you want to go, and what you're doing, you're forming a container. Is what you're forming. You're forming a prison cell.
Yeah.
You're putting yourself into a prison. And then everybody that walks by decides whether we want to be in the same prison as you're in.
Mm-hmm.
And we get upset when people don't want to be in our prison. We say, "Man, why wouldn't they want to be in this prison? I've got these scriptures up here on the wall, and I've got this over here, and I'm smart, I'm educated, I've got everything under control. You know, I make my bed every day. My prison cell is nice and clean. Why wouldn't they want to live in my prison?" Well, we've come into an age where nobody wants to live in a prison. We've come into an age to where it's time to unveil those things. But we do that and we put ourselves into a container, a prison cell, where we are detained and defined in a still picture. You know what a video is. It's not a still picture. You're moving all the time. But we snap a shot and we say, "Wow, neat. Look at the leaves. Look at the flowers. Look at the trees. Look at where they're at. Look at the green grass. Oh, look at this. Look at that." And we say, "We always want to be here. We always want to be in this prison. We always want to be in this container. This is a nice container." And when things start changing, then you get all confused because your container is tearing down, it's breaking down, it's decaying. And you built a cell of death. It's what you built, a container of death. You know where you're going to go? It's going to decay, it's going to fade away, and you're going to go back to death. Mm-hmm. Death returns to death. So, don't build a container and say, in the church ages, what they call it? A denomination. That's what they call it. Don't build yourself into a denomination. A Baptist container, a Methodist container. And don't build yourself into these containers of saying, "I'm with the Third Testament, I'm with the love divine. I am oneness. Just don't build a container. Last weekend we said, be like the wind that bloweth where it listeth, and you don't know where it came from and where it goes. It ain't in a container. It ain't in a prison cell. It ain't in a form. It may blow from the east one moment and fill it from the west the next. It may bring storms in. It may be a nice soft breeze, and it may be a 50-mile-an-hour breeze. It can be anything and everything, and you, as a person, can't control it You can't control who you are. You just need to feel the presence and adapt and accept the presence of where you're at the time.
And enjoy it.
And enjoy it. If it's a storm, if it's a sunny day, whatever it is, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, spiritually, naturally, and everything, just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Enjoy
Those
the
who
moment.
those who think a storm is bad, sit out on the porch under a tin roof for a few minutes with a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
You'll enjoy every bit of that storm.
We're walking in the land. We are to be like the wind. We can't be caught. You ever try to catch the wind? I remember as a boy, I lived in Indiana as a young boy out on a farm, and you used to get those what they call whirlwinds, especially out in the fields, and that they would pick up some dust, and you'd see them whirling across the field. And oh man, I wanted to run and get in the middle of those things, and I'd try to catch it. You couldn't catch it. It couldn't be caught. You couldn't jump into the middle of it. It seemed like, when you got there where it's at, it disappeared. And you could feel it. You could still feel it whirling, but you're in the middle of it now.
Right.
It's gone. So if you're outside of the movement of the wind, then there's a constant seeking to get into the middle of it. But if you're in the middle of it, you don't know from whence it comes, where it goes, and you can't catch it. You just enjoy it.
Right.
You just enjoy it. We're to be like the wind. Can't be caught, can't be contained, can't be controlled, can't be taught how to move, how to blow, how to whatever. You can't be taught any of those things. Like the wind, we have no practice or no precedent in our life. Like I said, sitting here a little while, you may see me and I may be fascinated over whatever it is, and I tell you all about it. And you'll say, wow, that's neat. Or I don't know about that. And then the next week I may not be there.
Right.
I've done moved on to something else. Something else has caught my eye, and something else is neat, and something else is, because I'm not going to settle down in a place. There's no place for me. And I'm not going to settle down into a bunch of things. There's no thing for me. But as I move through the places and the things, I'm going to enjoy them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to enjoy every moment of it as we go. So you have no practice, no precedent. You can't be contained or controlled. Jesus said that about the wind. There's no sequence of events with the wind. When it moves, you may say, well, the wind is blowing like this, and you can't even tell what it's going to be the next moment. It may be 50 miles an hour, and the next moment it's so calm and still. No sequential events or happenings. No sequence of events. Everybody just loves those sequence of events. This happens, so therefore this has to happen. And then when that happens, this has to happen. And then, well, it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. You can't predict what the wind is going to be. You can't predict what's going to happen. You can't predict anything in this place. In this no place. In this no thing. You can't predict anything. When you start trying to predict something, you're probably going to be laughed at some point because you missed it so far. We move about in the Spirit, and we are energy and life. Identifying ourselves. These things identify me. These places identify me. But I'm not any of those. You're not any of those. We are a living being, and the only thing that we should be looking for is the present.
Mhm.
That's all we should be looking for. The present. It's a new land. It's a new day. It's a new way of looking at things. Is it? Are you finding yourself kind of laying down anything? Kind of saying, "Gee, I didn't realize. I thought we was seeking something. I thought we was going after something. I thought we was trying to build something."
Just be who you are, be open, and you will find the things that you need. They'll
That's right.
come to you.
Yeah.
You will attract them. It's like a magnet. Your energy will attract everything you need.
That's
You
right.
Just relax and just be who you are.
Just
Yeah.
be who you are.
And that's what enlightenment will do for you. It shows you who you are, and therefore, in knowing who you are, you put out certain vibes, and that's what comes back to you.
Yeah.
You, gotta,
Exactly.
you just got to know who you are. Seek enlightenment, you know.
That's all there is
That's all there is.
enlightenment.
Yeah. Because everything else is just moving like the wind. It moves in and out of your life. From day to day, year to year, it just continues to move in and out of your life.
That's funny. How do you know who you are? Is there a way to know who you are? Do you mind making, can you make a list of who you are?
Oh gosh.
Make that list for me.
Ah,
Can you make a list and say, this is who I am, Sister Nora? Like, I'm Fairborn. I'm, just make a list of who you are.
If I were to sit down and write a list of who I am and show it to someone, they would look at it and say, "Well, I don't see any of that. I see this."
Yeah,
And they would list something totally different.
that's right.
It's perception.
It's all perception, and you can't make a list. Can you read a list of who you are? Make a list of what's in the land, because you are the land. This is who you are. What we stepped into. Can you make a list? You say, "Oh, I can make a list, Brother Parnell. We're the millennium. We're the new heaven and new earth. We're the promised land. Are we really? Or is that just the presence and the feelings and the very presence of who we are? When people get around me, they don't much look at me as new heaven and new earth. When people get around me, a lot of people, they might think I don't have much millennium in me. They might think I don't have much rest or anything in me. And some might even feel like, if he's anything, like one person said on Facebook just the other day, said he's spiritual all right. His spirituality comes straight out of the pits of hell. And I thought, wow, this guy must see something about me I don't see. So, sometimes people know you better than you know yourself. But anyway, you may compile a large list of all these things, but you'll never find yourself being those things. A list of places, a list of things, and you're nothing and you're everything. I'm nothing. I don't match up with any of it, but then it's all me.
Right.
I and you and me. We come to a total oneness. But that's not a list of you, whatever you make up a list of. You can't be found in that list. And if you're moving in the daily presence and moving in the moment of everything that's happening, within a week, 90% of that list is gone. And you're something else altogether. So how do you get comfortable with this land? How do you get comfortable with this no thing that we have moved into, with this no place? How do I get comfortable with it, Brother Don, Brother Torrey, Daniel, Alan? How do you get comfortable with it?
Accept it. Accept change. Because that's the only constant I see, besides me. It is change. So I just, when something changes, I just thought, oh, there it is. It changed. And I just accept that. And the next moment when it changes, I accept that. And I just accept. And if I can see I can shift it, move in a certain direction, and I like more of that, then I'll move it. If not, then I just
Go with the
kind of
flow.
where the day takes me, there I go.
And go with
I'm
the
just
flow.
living. I'm not, trying to live. I'm not trying to create a life. I'm just living. So many people, and
That's right.
that in America, they're trying to create a life. I'm not trying to create a life. I'm just living. And life will
That's right.
create itself around me.
You're already alive.
I'm already alive.
Yeah.
I don't need to create anything. I just need to be.
You know what they used to tell me? They'd say you got to plan. You got to plan, and you got to create, and you got to plan your life. And I remember in the corporations they'd tell us that. I think, I don't plan a life. I'm already alive, and while you're out there planning, life is going on.
That's right.
It's going on every day. It's who you are.
What's that old expression? Life's what happens to when you're busy making plans.
There you go. That's it. Life is what happens while you're busy making plans. So, who am I then? Who am I? That's the question. I think one of the prophets of old wrote and said, "Who am I that among all the stars and among everything in the heavens, who am I that the Lord would be conscious of me?" Well, it's not that the Lord is conscious of you. You are the consciousness.
Yes, you're conscious
Of
of
the
yourself.
Lord,
Exactly.
shaping and
Yeah.
forming into a certain character.
That's right.
That's what you are.
You're not separate from Him. There's no duality here.
No.
I am the consciousness. I am who I am. And I wrote it down like this. You are the knower. You are the knower. The one who knows all of these things, knows all of these places, and knows that it can be a part of you for a season, and then you're moving on to something else. You're the knower walking in the land, identifying what has been fulfilled to better understand you, the knower, and your creative powers of growth. You understand. You move through the land discovering you know you. You know you. And you know life. You know your life. You're the discoverer. You're the knower. You're the being and the creator. You're the creator and the creation. There's not two beings here.
Right.
You're it. You are it. There's only one entity in the universe, just one. Now that one breaks itself down into hundreds and hundreds and millions and billions of manifestations. There's still just one entity. And you are it, and you are the knower. And you're the one that's stepping out there and coming to know everything that you are. It's not duality. You are life. You are the land. You're all these things. You put them in your presence to learn more about the moment of each day. To continue learning. The things in the land are identifiers of yourself. Gold is a certain identifier of me. Gold is a certain identifier of fire. Fire is a certain identifier of judgment and yet purging. You can go on and on and on. Everything that you're going through is not a place or a thing when it comes to you. You are everything and you are nothing.
I am that I am. I, being an eternal being, am expression of that eternal being.
That's right.
So I express that I express. I am that I am.
Yes. Actually, you are light.
I know where you're going with this, but yes.
You are light. And I know this is kind of shocking to people, but Adolf Hitler was light. And Mussolini was light. And Alexander the Great was light. Ettore is light. Stefan Adabom is light. Joe Gomez is light. Connie Brooks is light. Daniel is light. There is no darkness. There is no darkness. There's no such thing as darkness. We termed different shades of light as darkness.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we did. Actually, you are light. There is no darkness. Darkness is just different shades of light. Obscured light, but it's light. We cause duality and double-mindedness in our lives by trying to make a difference in what something looks like.
Mm-hmm.
This is dark, therefore no light can be in it. It is darkness. This color is black. Well, we termed it black. But if you break down the colors, the dominant colors in black are red and green and orange. There's all kinds of colors in black, but we termed it black because of the darkness in it. And darkness, we termed as darkness, but it is full of all kinds of light. Mm-hmm. Different lights that form it, and you look at it and you say, ooh, that's dark. We did that. It is just as much light as the sun and the brightness of the noonday. Mm-hmm. But it is just shaded out with different colors to move it into a darker field. And then a good artist can take all of that darkness and fill in some beautiful backgrounds and everything else, and he can take all the lighters and he can fill all that, and he can draw you out just a beautiful picture. And it is all just 7 colors. There's only 7 colors. I worked in a paper mill. We made 412 different colors, but we did it with just 7 colors. That's all we used, 7 colors. And we used slave colors, we called them. That smoothed things out. We used tertiaries, 3 different colors. We used secondaries, 2 different colors. We used primaries, red, green, and yellow, blue. They're all the same thing. They're all the same thing. But we let our natural eye say, this chair is black. This paper is white. This mic is gray. This water, and you just keep naming colors and colors and more colors, but it's just 7 colors. Mm-hmm. And light is what breaks down all of the colors. Darkness doesn't make a color. Light makes a color. Everything is light. One said, only the light's going to be here in the end. Only the children of light. Only everything that's not sinned, everything that's pure, clean, and holy. That's all that's going to make it across the veil. Well, that's all of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we're all light. We're all light.
And what makes us realize we are light and what we are children of light, as that person would say. That light goes through that veil of a prism and expresses different colors, different attributes, and when it comes back out the other side of that prism, it goes back into light,
That's right.
into what it is. The prism between is just a veil.
Yeah.
Simple
And,
as that.
and if inside the prism you say, that's dark, that don't mean it's in hell.
No.
It's still the same light that entered the prism.
Yep.
You know,
It's not darkness, it's just an increase or decrease of light.
that's right.
It's just light, but it's either increased or decreased, and that's all it is.
Or it could be the same light and something has just obscured it.
Slowing
You
it
got
down.
an object between you and light.
Yeah.
The prism of sorts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So stop trying to step into this land and start using your double-mindedness in this land. In this land that we now understand is a land full of milk and honey, a land full of light, a land full of things and places, you've got to realize that you are no place and you are no thing. And you are the light that's kind of making the shades and colors of all the land. That's what you are. Have you ever been to the Painted Desert in Arizona? Man, it is so beautiful. The light will come down out of the heavens from in that heat in that desert, and that desert sand will just light up with rainbows all over the place on it, and you just stand there in awe. I remember standing there for hours, and finally the people I was with said, "We got to go, Brother Parner. We got to go." I was just amazed to think that one light could do all that. Amazing. You are actually light. There is no darkness. And so don't use your double-mindedness here and say, this is the devil and this is God. This is light and this is darkness. This is good and this is evil. None of that is in this land. None of that. We cause duality and double-mindedness in our lives by trying to make a difference. When we stepped into this land, we said there is no difference. We have no enemies. Yet we'll step over here and then we'll start making differences. You know, well, that's who they are. They're different than we are. Do you know what they did in Canaan's land? You know what they had to come to? When they stepped in the land, they heard a message. All the way through the wilderness, and when they stepped into Canaan, they heard a message that said, destroy everything. Kill the cattle, kill the men, kill the women. Don't leave nothing alive. That was the message.
Even the food, even all the vegetables. Everything.
Yeah.
Destroy everything.
Destroy everything. Burn the cities, tear down the walls, kill the people. Don't drink the milk. Don't save any of the cattle. Don't do anything. Do it. Kill it all. That was their message when they stepped into the land. But what? That's a theophanic message. That's a theophany message that says, I can't relate to humanity. Kill it all. I gotta have control here.
Yep.
Kill it, kill it. This is wrong, that's wrong. They stepped into that land, and what did they have to come to? What did they have to finally come to?
They had to come to terms with the people and the circumstances of their life. They just had to accept everybody for who they was.
That's right.
They couldn't kill them all out.
And who was it? Joshua said, if you leave them here, they will become thorns in your side and thistles and everything else in you. Well, you know, that's just a part of life.
It is.
You're going to have thorns and thistles. And they had to come to the realization that no, the message ain't kill everybody. And the message ain't burn everything. The message is come to acceptance. Come to acceptance and learn to live and deal among what is there. We have the hardest time doing that.
They do.
We're taught a journey of separation when there is No separation. We're all one light. Israel was taught many things about the land and had to realize a different reality when they entered it. The theophany knew the Word and the Word only. And when it entered the land of humanity, it had all that Word. And you know what the theophany was going to do if it continued on the way it was? It was going to live a scared, frail, broken life, and it was going to kill everything around it, and it was never going to learn what it needed to learn to live and develop itself in humanity. We're taught a journey of separation when there is none. Israel was taught many things about the land and had to realize a different reality when they entered it. And you do too. Mm-hmm. Whether you like it or not, this is you. And there ain't no darkness there. None. We see it. We see this duality, though. You see yourself one way and you see yourself the other. It's because you use your double mind. Mm-hmm. You use your double mind and you say, this is the no good me, not good enough or anything else. And this is the one I want to be. This is the real me. This is the real you. Crucify this no good one. It's not me. And you set up a dual person. You set up a
good and a bad. Someone you like and someone you don't like. Yeah.
And when you set it up, our separate self, you know that guy that you separate from yourself? Ew. Our separate self, a delusional no thing, it's not even real. There ain't no separate self. Wants to control what we gain, what we grow, what we perceive in the land with the old duality system. You're in a land where there's no duality.
Right.
But we want to gain and control and separate and push aside and do that and say, this ain't me, this is me. Well, I'm sorry, but you're just one person. And it is you. All of it is you. We separate out with the old duality spirit of double-mindedness. We've been talking on that. This is good. This is bad. This is unholy. And this is holy. Oh yeah. Control it. Get your prison cell set up. Stick the unholy things over here. And then don't go to that corner. And get all the holy things over here. And then control your eyes to look on the holy things. Until about 2 or 3 in the morning when nobody's watching and you go. And you look at all the unholy things. Yeah. Yeah. We've learned long enough. We know who we are. You look at all these things, this bad and holy and unholy, and we continue to try and live a dual life of separation. And we got pretty good at it. But now we crossed over into the land that we are the knower, and we know too much. You can't do it. And we continue to try and live a dual life of separation when this land brings us to oneness. And it says, this corner of unholiness is me. And this corner of holiness is me. And this good thing over here is me. And this bad thing over here is me. And now what I need to do is I need to bring it to oneness and realize it's all the same light. It's all the same me. I'm it. There ain't no good devil and no bad devils. There ain't no God. Not like you think. So here we are. The imagined, that's what it is, the imagined separate self. This one that we created and moved it off to the side from it. The imagined separate self wants control. Paul talked about it. Touch not, taste not. Paul talked all about it. But in the land, Paul said all those laws are nothing. They mean nothing. And Paul went on to say, when he's talking about touch not and taste not and all these, he went on to say, but to the pure, all things are pure. There's nothing that I don't touch. There's nothing that I don't handle. There's nothing that I don't taste. And it is pure. So we come to this. Our separate selves, we want to control. We want to organize. We get this big separate self figured out. We want to organize. We form a pattern of good things. Because you can't get good out of your head. It wants control of the prison cell. It wants to control it. Okay, move this over here. Stay right there. Now I feel better. I want this over here. I want this over there. I want to do this. I want to do that. That's it. It's perfect now. The prison cell, the container is just perfect. Something comes to your mind. I don't think that's as holy as I thought. Move this over here. Do this. And you're all the time trying to figure out what's good, what's bad, what's ugly, what's holy, what's pure, what's... all the time. So we want that total control. It wants control of the prison cell. That little imagined container that you have, that you think you're living inside and nobody can see it. Yeah. You're actually blind to the fact that everybody sees what's in there. Everybody watches what's in there. Your little imagined container that you made up, you're living in. You ever see a little child that they make up an imaginary person? And they'll talk to you about that imaginary person until their mind finally matures enough to get out of that. Well, we've just now matured enough to get out of our duality and to get rid of this imaginary little thing in our head. And we think, if I just think this way and feel this way and act this way and keep it all perfectly in the same form, then it'll match up with the big purpose. That little container in the universe is going to match up with the big purpose. We're gonna be something. No, you're no thing. We're gonna live in this place. No, you're no place. It's a facade. It's all it is. A false impression of this portal that we moved into. An attribute of humanity. And because we are theophany and we never lived in this before, when we enter that portal, we very quickly, we're a little child, a little baby, a little bitty thing in the middle of all the things that we have never touched or experienced or handled. All we've ever known is the Word. And we move in here and right away we set up this little container and we set up this little imaginary guy. And we say, that's not us. That's it. And the theophany does all of that and sets up a facade, tries to be what he was before he came here. And you're never going to be what you were before you came here. A false impression of this portal and the attribute of humanity that we've come into. Continually trying to set up something that we're not supposed to be. We're supposed to move on. The way of life is spontaneity. It's the presence. The way of life is spontaneity. What happens today, I cope with it, and I realize that's what I needed to deal with today. And tomorrow's another day. And yesterday is gone. Today is the day for, in this moment, this thing that I was supposed to pick up, observe it, a real gem of a storm, a gem of a beautiful thing, whatever it might be, a gem of gold and rubies, or a handful of, what do you call it, excrement? You're going to have them both. You're going to pick them up. You're going to have a handful of dung some days, and you're going to have a beautiful gem some days. And you are going to learn how to handle them both. Because they are both exactly what you attracted to yourself. Alan said it earlier. So we move into this portal. We live in spontaneity, movement in the land, moment by moment, staying in the present moment, while the fake self, the little imaginary separate person from you, wants to plan, be safe, be comfortable. And that's the hell we create. We create it. You create hell. You want to be safe. You want to be comfortable. You want to plan out a career, plan out a life, plan out this and plan out that. And the more you move and move and move in that, you create more and more hell for yourself, because you're letting life go by without handling and being and expressing and enjoying the moment of every day. Slow but sure, I'm learning that. This is a new land. So what do? This is too hard. So you stay in your cell.
So you stain yourself?
You stay in your cell.
Okay.
You stay in your container. You keep it safe. You keep it, and you say, I don't want to go I don't want to move any further. William Branham's the last prophet. The Laodicean church age is the last church age. Daggone it. Parnell, this is the end. I ain't leaving my cell. When I leave my cell, it's going to be when I'm raptured. And I fly away. That's where my next move is to be raptured. And you ain't taking me nowhere else. I'm not going anywhere else. I got to have a quote from this man. I got to have a scripture from this Bible. I got to have everything in the holy side. I need to try to attain it. I'm sorry. My container is fixed. My facade is here. And I ain't stepping outside of this cell because it's chaos out there. That's the way a lot of people feel.
Yeah.
Freedom is chaotic.
I've got the greatest message in the world. Why would I want to leave here for? That's what they said to Moses. We had garlic. We had bread. We had everything in Egypt. And you brought us out here into this wilderness to die. Why did I ever leave my prison? People are that way all the time. They don't want to go any further. So you stay in your prison cell and you keep all the components that you have so organized, so much the same. William Branham didn't say that. You can't say it unless he said it. Where do you find that in the Bible? Give me a scripture in the Bible. Everything has to be backed by scripture. You just hang in your prison cell, and you set up your little thing, and you stay there waiting to be raptured. That's the control of the fake self. You're talking about an imaginary kid thinking that something is going to pick you up and fly you up there 1,500 miles in the air and feed you dead chicken and ribs and and live up there for 3.5 years. Just stay in your cell if that's where you want to be. That's the control. That's the fake self, the imaginary you. But in that prison, listen to me, don't you ever forget what Don Parnell is saying. In that prison, there is nothing but death. Everything you've set up will decay, and the world will continue to move on to another day, another message, another time, another portal, another dispensation, and you will die in that prison cell. It'll happen. The way out is resurrection into a higher consciousness where you leave the duality and you work from oneness. Mm-hmm. That's the way out.
Mm-hmm.
There's a question from Edwin Aroma. You may want to read this. I think it'd be better if you read it and then answer it than for me to try to read it to you and have you answer it. If you understand the question more if you read it.
I have concerns on duality or contrast. In reality, there is no duality, but oneness. However, whether we like it or not, it operates and a part of the process in life. The purpose of this duality is to bring us into a realness of mind. So my thought on this duality or contrast is eternal, and it has no end, a part of a cycle to make us grow. Can you help us elaborate further? Yes. The duality is there because there is some part of you that is not yet matured. And I'm not saying that about Edward. I'm saying that about us as a collective body. The duality has to remain there in whatever form it's in to mature us. Mm-hmm. Because we are not yet at the point that we can accept the responsibility of being that thing or that place or that. We can't accept the responsibility of it, so we hold it separate from us. And the duality may be there all the way through the Aquarian age and all the way out through the Capricorn age and probably in every other dispensation and creation that we ever go into. Mm-hmm. There's going to have to be a duality because we are eternal. So listen to me, we will never come to the point to where that we have ended our immaturity because we're eternal. Mm-hmm. We'll never come to the point that we end our immaturity. We will come to the point that we are more mature than immature, and then we will move a little more from there and a little more from there, and as we set up creation, we will continue to become more and more mature, but we will never ever come to a total maturity and put an end to the need for duality. Although it is not a dual thing. It is you and me, the collective body, and we are using the duality and pulling a piece of us away and saying, we don't like that. So therefore we dig into the detail, we dig into the duality of it, and we find out exactly what it is, and we mature ourselves around that to remove or to dissolve the iniquity of ourself and move on to the next thing. But eternity will always hold a duality about it, a contrast about it. Eternity will always hold a devil in it. And a devil just means a process. Eternity will always hold iniquity in it. Iniquity just meaning we know who we are, we know what to do, but we're not doing it yet. And that's all iniquity means. So we move through our processes of the devil, and we sort ourselves through, and we keep learning more and more and more about ourselves. But we're eternal. We are eternal, and that is something you just can't fathom. But we are eternal, so therefore we will never, ever totally come to the maturity about ourselves. We just won't do it. So he's right. The concept of duality will always lay there in order to mature us more and more and more. No matter if it's 1,000,000 years from now or 1,000,000,000,000 years from now or eons and eons and eons of light years from now. We'll always have some part that we're trying to resolve, dissolve, and mature ourselves in. We'll always have it.
I like the way you termed it as a concept. Duality is a concept.
It is.
So it's a thought or a creation that we step into to mature ourselves, like you said. And then we step out of it, and then there's another concept. We
That's right.
step into that one, we step out of it, and then there's another concept.
Yes.
Now, whether that concept is this reality or some other reality, it's still a concept.
That's right.
Of who you need to, what you need to go through to come out the other end as a more mature aspect of
The
yourself.
construct that you work a process through.
Exactly.
Yes.
You build something with a purpose of working yourself through it to gain something.
Right.
Right.
At some point, iniquity and the Bible and many things that are a core part of our construct right now may not even be in existence.
Right.
Yeah. May not be a thought.
May not even be a
But
thought.
look at how much of our reality in technology is built on theory.
That's right.
In so many different forms, even mathematical applications, 65-70% of it's theory.
Yes.
There's nothing concrete about it. It's just theorizing.
Yeah.
Something that we just created and say, okay, I like the way this shaped out, so that's what it is.
I liked what somebody said in the science world. They said that Albert Einstein was the theory of science, and Nikola Tesla was the fact of science. And they said they needed them both to bring science to a reality. But they were one. They were scientists. One worked off a theory, one worked off a fact. One had diagrams and said it's this, and this, and we're going to set this up, and we're going to set up some theories and everything else in it. We're going to figure out exactly this. And Nikola Tesla, he said, I don't have a diagram. I don't write anything down. That's why they missed so much of what he said, because he had it all right here
in
in his head,
Yeah.
and he didn't write it down on papers and
If
everything.
you didn't
else.
build it, then you didn't catch it because
Yeah.
you didn't see it.
So that's and Edwin, it's a good question. When we get so far beyond this part of the world that all of creation has never even passed through this before, the Bible might not be even an iota. Iniquity might not even be the contrast. Just like sin, we're starting to come to the understanding that sin ain't a contrast.
Yeah.
Sin is a delusion. It is,
Yep.
it is nothing. I don't even think about sin in my contrasts. Not a part of it. The Bible, everything else is good. But we will always have a construct that holds within it a duality. For our person to mature through that system and come to oneness. And then we check another part of us and figure it out through duality and come to oneness. And then we take another look at a part of us and form a construct of duality and contrast to come to the maturity in it. And it just keeps moving that way. And it just keeps going that way throughout eternity.
So you have Einstein, which is I believe, and Tesla, which is I know.
Yes.
So I was thinking William Brandon's song that he liked so much, "Only believe, all things are possible if you only believe." Well, that's what he was telling people at that time. Only believe, all things are possible if you only believe. Well, we're beyond the believing part. We are the all things. We are the possibility. So we're no longer trying to believe in the possibility. We are the possibility.
Yes.
We are the all things.
Alan Stuckler said there is nothing out there. It's us doing all this.
There's
Absolutely true.
There's a lot in there. I didn't read them, but there is a lot
Yeah.
in there.
Bobby Bieber, this is the real restoration of who we are. Thank you, Tori. Maybe, just maybe, the introduction of artificial womb will remove this duality in the generations to come. And that may be true. One person said to me, he said, this is the end. This is the end. When they come to where they're making babies like this, we're at the end. And I wrote back and I said, what are you so afraid of? Explain to me what you're talking about please tell me what you mean by the end. Do you mean the end of pain for women when they have babies? Because now they don't have to go through that pain. Do you mean the end of dysfunctional genetics where babies are born with Down syndrome and diseases? And do you mean, what do you mean by the end? This could be, that could be the end of many things that we had to suffer with coming through a sexual birth. It could be the end of the ladies who can't have babies because of a dysfunctional problem in the ovaries and everything else, and now they can have babies. Yeah, this could be a good end to a lot of things. Of course, they all get tore up and they say, well, it's gonna, if they start forming babies like that, they're going to have strange characters. There's going to be missing links. There's going to be... And I said, I'm sure that Adam and Eve sit around and kind of thought the same thing when they was trying to decide whether or not they wanted to step into the sexual relationship. They were thinking, this may destroy the whole concept of children. They may come out half-formed. They may have genetics that are so terrible they'll be this and they'll be that. But we didn't turn out too bad, didn't we?
Right.
I mean, we're all living, we're all doing well, and
Eve was thinking, what is this thing going to do to my body?
yeah. Then I got to go through 9 months, and it's going to come out like a serpent crawling on the ground, and it's going to take it forever. I wrote one guy, I said, you just wait until they come to a point they're not making babies anymore in incubators, but they're making full-grown men and women, and they step out of the incubator and look around and say, wow, this is nice. They said, that'll never happen. I said, well, you kind of said, the babies would never happen too, but they're doing it now. So, and it's not real, it's artificial. Oh, really? Really? So you mean that all of us are artificial because the sexual birth was not the original way?
Right.
We're different than the original, so we're all artificial. We're not real. Artificial means not real. I said, was Adam, because he's not born from sex, is he artificial? If you think sex is the way to go? Is Eve, who was cloned off of Adam, she wasn't born by sex? Do you think that she's not real? Do you think Jesus is not real? All those were,
Artificial. Yeah.
born a different way. So that makes them Are you, because we're not born like Adam, are we all artificial? No. We're just not the way they were. We are real. We are not artificial. We are real. And these babies are going to be real. They're going to live lives. I told one of them, I said, they'll be just like the sheep and the cattle. They're doing that way now. They're producing them without using all their sexual organs and everything else. They're producing sheep and cattle. And I said, you're wearing their wool and you're drinking their milk. And they love things and things love them. I said, these babies are going to walk around. They're going to grow up and they are going to be loved and they are going to love and they are going to become our leaders. They are going to become our neighbors. They're going to become all those things over the generations. So you better learn that humanity is not going anywhere. One person, he said, now you're trying to play God. I said, trying to play God? I am God. What do you mean? Don't you know your scripture? It said, ye are gods, and ye shall die like men. Don't you know that he said, those of you to whom the word of God comes to, you are gods? We're not playing God. We're God.
The very fact that you're here living this existence means you are God.
That's
You
right.
come here to be God. Not like you're going to go there to be God, but you're going to be God up when you go over there. You cross the veil. You come here to be God.
Right.
Yes. So, your imaginary self, I know we'll have to close down here in just a few minutes. Your imaginary self is always trying to preserve life. Your imaginary, that delusional thing that you created, made a container and everything to live in, and it's always trying to preserve life. Stay young, be healthy, so you can live and not die years and years and years longer. Now we are coming to our real spirituality in the land, and we're recognizing that all is well. We cannot die. I don't have to preserve life. I don't have to try to be healthy and all these things, which I want to be, because I do want to, while I'm here, at least live a healthy life and not be in so much pain. But I'm not trying to preserve life and say, if I don't do this, I'm only going to live to be 70 and I would rather live to be 100. So I'm going to do all these things. No. That's not even my thought. I just want to be healthy while I'm here. Sister Norad's sitting there at 80-some years old. She's healthy. That's all I want to be. Healthy. And I'm not trying to preserve life. If you're in the state of duality, two, then you know no thing. You separate everything from you. See where I'm going? You come in here knowing no thing. If you stay in the form of duality, you'll continue to know no thing. Because you separate yourself from everything. Well, that's good. That must be from God, the Holy One. That's bad. Oh, that must be from the devil, the ugly one, the unholy one. And none of it is you. None of it is you. You separate everything from you and have an obscured relationship with all of your creation. You created all these things to express you, and then you come here and you're scared of it in your little theophany mind, so you start saying, that ain't me, that ain't me. That's, on and on and on. There's no duality, and to try and walk in the land in such a manner makes you imagine that everything is no thing, everything is subhuman or superhuman, everything is inferior or superhuman, superior, and this makes your problems huge. And you got to have these things to act for you in a superhuman way or in a ungodly way when there's neither one.
Right.
You are walking in no thing and in no place. but you are looking at the creation to discover what all is you, and there ain't nothing out there acting in any way except you. You're it. In this land, everything that is rising is normal. I am both nothing and everything. There's only one liberation, and that's enlightenment. Enlightenment frees you to go to the next thing. If you don't catch enlightenment, then you're trapped in your container. And you won't see anything else. You just want to be inside that container. Everything rising is normal. But that imaginary self says everything out here is something special, something hierarchical above me, something superior moving about us. Ego and choice and all these things that you're throwing on to all this out here is no big thing to deal with when you realize this concept. I got no ego to deal with. I got no evil to deal with, and I got no good to deal with. I'm not superior and I'm not inferior. I'm nothing and I'm everything. I am who I am. And you don't have to tag yourself and veil yourself with anything. The separate imaginary self has never done anything. The separate imaginary self, I wrote this down, has never done anything. It's not real. That thing that you created, it's never done anything. It's not real. You just think it is. You feel it. It's an add-on. That's all it is. The person of presence is real. It, the imaginary little guy, is not real. The unholy, no thing. The holy, no thing. And the unholy and the holy, everything, are not special events. It's not special entities. It's not special things. They are you. They are me. The unholy things are me. The holy things are me. And I'm not specially unholy, and I'm not specially holy. I'm not super holy, and I'm not super unholy. I'm just holy, and I'm unholy. I'm just filthy, and I'm filthy, and clean, and holy, and pure. We need to understand this. Get into the land and stop separating things out. Resurrection is the expression of person, and all the other attachments are just add-ons to bring us to the reality of rising into the present. In the presence and in the source. Moving further in the source. The ego tries to make everything into a special, extraordinary event. Oh my God, this only happens to me. I'm special. I got this special thing that's going on in my life. The ego tries to make everything into a special, extraordinary event so it can exacerbate its seemingly huge problems with a great big huge devil and a great big huge God. We do it all the time. And we're coming to a better understanding. In this land, right and wrong, good and evil, measurement scales, trees of life and trees of knowledge are expressions of duality. And we don't play that game in this land anymore. It is a level playing field here. I told you this was the year of leveling the playing field. Release your mind, move it into the same space as your heart. Don't Velcro it to every situation. Get in that space, understand who you are, release your mind from all these things you created, these little imaginary things, and then don't Velcro it to everything that comes about. Oh, this is me, this is it, that's it. Just don't Velcro yourself. Learn what is best for you, spiritually and individually, and then as the collective mind. And then keep moving in that direction. And keep maturing. I am totally mature, Brother Parnell. No, you're not. I don't care who you are. I don't care how far you come. I don't care how many ancestors you think you had. And I don't care how many saints you think are living in you and talking to you. No, you're not totally mature. But we are maturing. Mm-hmm. And we'll say the same thing a billion years from now. Mm-hmm. No, we're not totally mature. But we are maturing, and we will have come through an awful lot of devilistic processes by then. And we'll continue to mature. Jesus said he would make us fishers of men. Yeah, that's what I am. You are the fish, too. Don't separate things out. I told you, when you look at Jezebel, Ahab, Elijah, Elisha, when you look at all of them, don't say, well, I'm Elisha and Elijah. I ain't Jezebel and Ahab. No, you got it all wrong. You're all four of them. Stop doing that. Realize the prophet said, if you don't see Christ in everyone, everything you read, then you missed it. Go back and read it again. Stop separating yourself. You're a fisherman, absolutely. But you are a fish too. You're the fish and you're the fisherman. You throw out the bait and begin to bring it in slowly. And you bite on it. And you catch the bait. Be wise. Understand that it all comes from within you. Be careful or you hook yourself. And it hurts. Be wise, understand that it's all comes from within you in this land, and don't grab on to everything. My boss used to tell me, he said, don't, when people try to tell you things, don't get off at the first bus stop with them. He said, don't, just keep moving. Find out the whole story before you come in here telling me this and this and this. Don't jump off at the first bus stop. Get the whole thing. Well, that's what I'm telling you here. Don't jump off at the first bus stop, and when your little mind, the fisherman, is throwing all kinds of bait out there, don't you grab at everything. Be wise, understand that it all comes from within you in this land, and don't grab at everything that you have baited up and tossed out there. Be wise. Be smart. Pay attention to know that it's all you. Grow and mature. This is a new land. This is a new day. And how you try to seek yourself in this land is how you avail yourself. Mm-hmm. And this is not a time of veiling. This is a time of unveiling. Move in the moment. Unveil yourself of everything and be no thing. Be no place and be everything. That's what this is about. A land flowing with milk and honey. Boy, how bitter it can be.
Milk and honey is just symbols for things that you desire. Back then, that was two very valuable things that people desired. And it's just a symbol for things you desire. And it's a land that's filled with things that you desire. You going after it or what?
Yeah. God is a spirit. And those that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. The way that you get past worshiping things and places and all these other things, promises and everything else, get past worshiping all that and come to the understanding to love yourself and worship yourself and understand who you are. You can't worship yourself. You've been running around for 6 years now, and longer for a lot of you, saying, I am God. I am the Holy Spirit. I worship God. I worship the Holy Spirit. You got all scared to death. Say, I worship myself. It scares you. I can feel it right now. I can feel it. You need to come to love yourself. You need to come to worship. If you're going to worship anything, worship you, the inside person and who you are. Worship that great expansion. Worship that person that you are understanding who you are today. Worship that person. And in so doing, you are touching and worshiping every other person who is a part of that entity. And it's not a worship like an idolization.
Right.
I'm not talking about setting up idols. I'm talking about worship just means serving, enjoying, displaying, become an expression of. Express yourself. Worship yourself. I'll probably lose a few over that one, but it's the truth anyway.
It is the truth.
Yeah.
You are the only real thing in your life. Is you.
Yes.
Everything else is everything you see, touch is in a sense an illusion. The only thing that's real is you. So what else are you going to worship?
Yep.
But you, yourself.
You, if you're looking at yourself as something besides the Spirit,
Yeah.
you don't even exist except in your own mind.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You don't see me as who I see me.
Right. Yep.
I see me as something, and if I said to everybody, I want you to sit down and write up who you see me as. Everybody would describe a person who I don't even think is in existence. Because we have been programmed to see ourselves as places and things and educations and on and on and on and on and on. Ethnicities, backgrounds, races. I'm the only one that thinks I'm in existence when I'm looking at those things. But when I stop looking at those things and I look at the Spirit and who I am and begin to worship that person, then I begin to understand who I am. And I don't worry about what all of these other things are and what they think of me.
Yep.
We better.
This veil will never be this veil. It will never be that veil and that veil while we're in this realm.
That's right.
And once we cross over, we will realize spiritually how connected we really, really are.
It's the truth.
And how connected we've been throughout this whole process.
Like
We're
the-
just one thing.
Right, like a singer used to say, you don't know how it feels to be me.
Right.
That's it.
That's exactly right. And I will never ever know how it feels to be you.
Uh-huh,
But once we cross over, I will understand you.
yeah.
I would love to have the notes posted at the earliest possible time. I will. I will give you my word that I will get these out quickly to help, because I know that we're all looking at this new way, new land, and we're all programmed a little different than what we should be doing now. We're programmed under a Piscean age. I just set up for us a new program. And it's just a piece of it. It's just a little minute piece of it. But this is a way that you can step into this land and maybe not label yourself as so many places you've been and so many things that you are. And you'll come more to who you really are. The Spirit of the Lord in worship. worshiping one another and all things, and loving ourselves.
Learning to love.
You want to sing a little song?
Is the greatest love of all. I wish I knew that song. Yes, Sister Nora, I will play your song. When it's all been said and done, there is just one thing that matters. That I do my best to live for truth. Oh, did I live my life for you?
Yes.
When it's all been said
And
all our treasures will mean nothing. Only what I've done for love divine will last the test of time. When it's all for your mercy is so great that you look beyond my weakness and found pure as gold and as miry clay, turning sinners into saints. I will always sing my praise here on earth and ever after. I've been shown in heaven my true home. When it's all been said and done, I'm my life when its life is done. I'm my life when its life is done.
yes.
Amen. Beautiful.
In the authority that we have, and the authority that we are, and in the presence of who we are, reach out, take a hold of what's yours, be healed, receive the things that you need, the finances, the spirituality, the open mind, receive it all from one another, and trust that that is the Spirit of the Lord. Amen.